All right. If you want to hear this go live to YouTube right now, the audio should be working this time. My apologies to everybody. A little technical difficulties on my end, so I apologize. Just want to make sure the audio is working. Let's see. Okay, we got a little music. Okay, cool. Yeah, I should never ended the live, but it's whatever. It is what it is. All right, you guys hear me now? Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad. Very glad about that. So we're back. Okay. All right, so we can get into this video now. Let's see. We can get into the video. My apologies, everybody who came in and I kind of kicked you out. That was totally my fault. Thank you, Kenny, for letting me know the audio is working. Thank you, Bruce, for letting me know. If you guys want to go over to YouTube, I have the whole link up there. So let's get this started. I'll see you guys over here in about a minute or so. Okay. Wait for a couple more people to get in, and then we should be good to go. Thank you guys for liking this video as well. If you press that thumbs up, appreciate it. This one, my first time's really going live, so kind of working out some of the kinks here. Can you guys hear the music? How's the music for you guys? I wonder how the music, I hope you guys can hear it. It's probably really low. I could actually turn it up. But yeah, okay. Got a couple more people in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Are you guys ready to get this video started? Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I had a little technical difficulty there, but we're getting back into it now. All right, cool. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's I'm gonna turn on the music now. We'll start getting into this topic real quick. All right, so again, you guys missed the whole beginning portion of it, but essentially what we're talking about today is, if you read the title, this is apparently going on. There's potential talks about giving reparations to people that were illegally crossing the border. All right, yep, you know, that's right, Dr. Yep, Stream Beats, you already know. So yeah, there's potential talks about giving reparations to people that crossed the border who got here illegally, and they were separated from their families, and were, you know, since they were spread apart, there is potential talks of paying out individuals of the family and up to $400,000, $450,000, which is pretty much $500,000, which is a lot of money. And they said it was reparations, right? So first thing, when I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I saw the article, and as a human and as a black person, I immediately got triggered, because I'm like, reparations, hold up, like if anybody's getting reparations, it's gonna be black folks first. That's just how I felt personally. You know, you hear the word reparations and, you know, you're like, hold up, like there's a lot of stuff that happened to people that never got paid out for. So it's there. But before we even jump to conclusions with it, let's get to the article. And I'll pull it up right now so you guys can see it. All right, so hopefully you guys can see it. So if you guys can see it, put a 1 up in the chat, just so I know you're able to see the actual article. We're going to review it. I'm going to go through some of the pieces, and I'm kind of, this actually, I did a little bit of reading the article, but I wanted to save it for the actual live because I wanted a real genuine interaction or a reaction about how it looks. But I did read a little bit of it, and it was kind of getting crazier. The more I read, the more I was like, hold up, this is just ridiculous. So yeah. So let me see those ones up to make sure you guys can see it before we get started. But see that? Not sure if it's me, but the feed is a little choppy. Okay. Might be me. Got a couple of drop frames. think it's my Wi-Fi. Okay. I'm close to the Wi-Fi, but it's been going out lately. But all right, so if you can't do it on YouTube, then go over to Instagram. You won't be able to see the article, but I'll be reading it and discussing it either way. So whatever's better for you works out for me. So, but let's get right into this, okay? So we're reading at the top. Biden considers paying border crossers $450,000 each in reparations, okay? So it's not that this is happening. This is not finalized. There's just talks about it, okay? Just talks, but I guess I'll speak for me as a black person. It just sounds so crazy to hear somebody getting reparations when you know people that of your caliber and who you are, the same ethnicity, haven't got paid their rightful reparations. So I think when this title uses the word reparations, it kind of brings a triggering type of emotion, to be honest, for me. But let's get into it. So President Joe Biden's administration is considering a plan that would give border crossers who were subjected to former President Donald Trump's zero tolerance policy about $500,000 in a reparations style payout. So it's not reparations, reparations style payout, okay? So the Trump had instituted the zero tolerance policy at the United States Mexico border in 2018 to reduce illegal immigration. So pause for a second. It says illegal immigration, not legal immigration, but illegal immigration. We're talking about people that are coming in illegally, not coming, you know, as the way the protocol is supposed to be for entering the United States. They're coming in any way they can get in, regardless of what the rules and policy are. So these people were taking the chance of getting caught, you know, trying to come to a new land, whatnot, but they got caught whatsoever, and now there's going to be a payout for the choice that they chose. So it's a little different because, you know, they chose the choice to try to come over here. You get caught, and now there's a payout for getting caught, which is kind of interesting to me because as a black person, there's people that came over to this country with no choice and didn't get paid out. So that's just where I'm at. Not saying that they don't deserve it. To me, I just see that and I'm like, that's just kind of interesting how, you know, it's like that. And this video paused for some reason. Alrighty. So, moving on. Sorry if the video cut on Instagram Live. All right, so moving on. Let's get back to here. All right, so that policy is effective since before 2001. As a result of the policy, adult border crossers, they said adult border crossers were often put into separate holding facilities from the children they arrive with at the southern border. Since then, the border crossers who were subject to the policy have sued the federal government. Now pause for a second. It's a very interesting and key point because they said, as a result of the policy, adult border crossers were often put into separate holding facilities from their children. Now this has to make the claim that the people that they came with were actually their family members. Because, you know, I've heard a lot of stories. I've talked to people who actually came over, and a lot of times they came over with what you call a coyote, someone who can get across back and forth across the border who isn't necessarily related to them. And a lot of people pick those ways because they have actual access of getting through to America. So now it has to come to prove that these people were family members if they both got caught. So that's one thing I think was kind of interesting because they're going to have to prove these people that were there together were family, which some people were and some people weren't. I don't know the numbers or the stats. This is my personal opinion, so don't quote me on it, but that's just where it is. All right? So they decided to sue the federal government. Biden administration, the Wall Street Journal reveals, is now weighing whether to provide those border crossers with $500,000 each as a part of a payout in the lawsuits filed. In some instances, a migrant family could secure about $1 million from such a payout, more than some of the American families received following the 9/11 2001 terrorist attacks. The payout overall could cost American taxpayers more than $1 billion. So I think that is kind of, it's like, wow, like people who were subject to terrorist attacks don't even get paid this much. Like, don't even get paid as much. Now, I'm not saying that they may not deserve what they're getting. I just think it's kind of interesting how people who were, you know, disenfranchised a lot worse for things they couldn't control don't even get this kind of amount of pay or even considered. That's just, to me, I'm just like, wow, that's kind of interesting, right? It's just like people who who suffered from a terrorist attack got less money than people who chose to come over illegally. I just think that's kind of like, wow. To me, that's just like, oh, that's just, wow. So keep on. The Biden administration is in talks to offer immigrant families that were separated during the Trump administration around $500,000 per person in compensation. According to the people familiar with the matter, as several agencies work to resolve the lawsuits filed on behalf of parents and children who say the government subjected them to lasting psychological trauma. Lasting psychological trauma. Now, I can understand that, but shoot, let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of people that went through trauma as well in this United States. I'm not even just talking about like African American people. After 9/11, all the people that were from like other countries and stuff were getting just hated on because they were the Taliban or they were Arab or whatever it was, and they were getting hated on. This is all psychological trauma from being so to say they're doing this because the government subjected them to lasting psychological trauma. Wow, like that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, they're getting paid out for psychological trauma. But crack in neighborhoods, redlining, Jim Crow laws, slavery, this is for black people, just for this particular part. And there's no payout for the psychological trauma that happened? Just saying. Let's keep going. The U.S. Departments of Justice, Homeland Security, and the Health and Human Services are considering payments that could amount to close to $1 million a family. Though the found numbers could shift, the people familiar with the matter said most of the families that crossed the border illegally from Mexico, keyword illegally, from Mexico to seek asylum in the U.S. included one parent and one child, the people said. Many families would likely get smaller payouts depending on the circumstances, they said. In another instance, the Department of Homeland Security attorney involved in the settlement talks complained on a conference call that the payouts could amount to more than some families of 9/11 victims received, one person said. Other persons said senior departmental officials were in alignment on the amount and disputed that 9/11 comparison given the U.S. government hadn't been responsible for 9/11 2001 terrorist attacks. Because they haven't, apparently. That 9/11 victim compensation fund averaged to the dead of around $2 million tax-free at the time of unprecedented payout, the administrator of the fund said. And then I think this is getting to the closer in the article. It said it would be unthinkable to pay damages to a burglar who broke into your home for the psychological trauma they endured during the crime. Now let's just think about that. So since we're talking about the border in America, let's just say America is your house. America is your house. You live here. You pay for all this stuff here. Someone tries to come in, break into your house. You then stop them, and then they sue you for psychological trauma? When they chose to come into your home? Why would I be getting sued for someone breaking into my home? Why would I be getting sued because they broke into my place where I live, that I paid to live? Now understand, we don't have the ability to be born where we decide we're born at. That's just out of our control. And I understand people want a better life, and I get that. And there is a way to do that. And it's not easy to do. I'm not saying that it's easy to do, but there is a way to do it legally, right? It's not easy, but it is possible. But to say that because you broke into my house and I stopped your ass, you gonna sue me for psychological trauma? Like, what? Like, that don't make no sense. How do you sue me for coming into my place? I just stopped you from doing what you came into the place where I live and pay for, and then now I gotta pay you $500,000 because you have psychological trauma. When you look at it that way, it's just wild. It's wild. Now, I'm not saying that the way they do immigration is perfect. I'm not saying that it works correctly. I'm not saying it's the best way it could be done. I don't know a lot about it. These are my opinions on it. Okay, if you have more information about it, we can share it and have a dialogue and discuss. No problem. But just from the looks of it, as a person who doesn't really follow politics and is listening to this and hearing this and starting to get their nose in it more, it just seems like, wow, that's crazy to think that someone can break in, take over your stuff, and then have the audacity to sue you when you stop them. That's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is crazy, right? This is crazy to me personally. Let's get back to it, though. All right. The Biden administration promises of citizenship and entitlement programs have already caused the worst border crisis in history. A huge cash reward would make it even worse. This is the height of insanity, whoever this person said. In their lawsuits, border crossers allege that their separation from their children they arrived with at the U.S.-Mexican border spurred mental health issues and trauma that they have struggled to overcome. You know, and I hear that, and I feel that. Like, I can understand, like, you separated from your kids, you have no idea when you're going to see them again. I get it. And my first thought as a black person is like, what about the slaves that got separated from their family and never got paid out, who were promised payouts when they became free and never got any of it? What about all those generations of people? Like, I understand, but I'm also thinking about, like, all right, well, what about the people who were here before? What about them? What about them? I mean, and now I'm thinking about the 9/11 victims and stuff, and it's like, what about them? Psychological trauma from a terrorist attack. Like, what about them? Hold on, I'm going to read a comment. It says, my mom came legally 5 years before me. She separated us because she wanted to do it legally. Rewarding others for breaking the rules just makes me mad. I understand. It doesn't make sense to be rewarded for breaking the rules. That's what where my thing is. It's like, wait, like, you want to do something illegal like this? But this is why it's such a interesting feat, because they're talking about illegal immigration, illegal, like not legal, breaking the law, and then you get paid out. Like, that's just, to me, like, that's just where it just. This is an interesting country I'm living in. Love America, but interesting. Let's get back to it. So let's see. Lawyers for the border crossers want around $3.4 million per family unit. Whoo! $3.4 million. $3.4 million? $3.4 million. Wow. Such settlements have occurred in recent years. For example, in June 2019, a family of Honduran border crossers won $125 in damages after they filed a lawsuit claiming the federal government had mistreated them when holding them in detention facilities. What about all the people that are in prison right now? Like, just in general, like, what about people that are in prison? Just in general, like, are they getting treated fairly? You've seen movies and documentaries. I'm sure we've all seen them, at least to some degree. So in May, reports circulated that as a part of such settlement with the border crossers subjected to the zero tolerance policy, the Biden administration would fly deported illegal aliens back to the U.S. and provide them with amnesty to remain in the country, as well as payments and social. Hold on. Let me read this again. In May, reports circulated that as part of such settlement with border crossers subjected to the zero tolerance policy, the ones who already like left and got kicked out and stuff like that, the Biden administration would fly deported illegal immigrants. I don't like really using the word aliens for some reason. I don't really care for that. I don't know. I don't like it. Whatever. They would fly deported illegal immigrants back to the United States and provide them with amnesty to remain in the country, as well as payments and social services. End of the article. So now it's even at the point now they're gonna, the people that they already deported, they're gonna fly back and then pay them. Like, I'm not one for people to suffer. I don't like to see people suffer. I don't want that for anybody, for any families and stuff like that. But as a black person, it's just like, wow, like they don't give a damn. Like that's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy. It's when you, I mean, I don't know if anybody, how people, other people relate this, but to me, like when I hear someone getting paid out in reparations for their psychological trauma, I'm like, bro, hold up. Hold up. Like psychological trauma, you gonna get paid out for that? And $500,000? Like, but no 40 acres and a mule, just saying. Just none of that, but, you know, psychological, you know, trauma because you separated from your family and we're going to pay you $500,000, which, like I said in the beginning, one, this is my opinion. Two, I'm just reading it from this article. I don't have all the facts about it, and it's not something that's actually in place yet, but it's considered talks about it. I just think it's very interesting to see that they're paying people out for psychological trauma when there's been a lot of people, and I've experienced a lot of things as being a black person and just being a minority, and you know, the way I've been treated or looked at, and I would say there's some psychological trauma. I mean, I've dealt with it and got over it, but yeah. So to hear that and be like, well, they're all going to get $500,000, bring them back to the country, and give them amnesty and make them payments and everything, like, wow, that's how they treat people that they care about. Interesting to me, because that's how they treat people with how they apparently care. So I don't know. I'm curious to hear what anybody else thinks about it, because I'm just slightly appalled at the way it works. I'm not totally against helping people like that. Like, I'm not against helping them. I think would be to, if it were the case, they wanted to help people. In my opinion, I don't know how to run the country. I'm not a guy who knows a lot about politics, but in my opinion, if you're going to do that and pay $500,000, why don't you? I'd rather do the first part and let's let them come as immigrants. Leave it there. Like, just give them a green card and be like, all right, green card, and you can figure out you're actual citizen now. I think that's a better alternative, because that's just crazy to. I mean, it's making everybody else pay more taxes in general. We're already paying for a lot of stuff in this country anyways. And I feel for the people over there, because like they're trying to get a better life. Like, I get it. Like, you want to have a better life. You come in here because there's more opportunities for things. Like, you know, you have a lot more choice. And, you know, in a lot of other places, it's not like it is in America. Like, you have a lot more freedoms here. As much as people don't want to admit that, you have a lot more freedom of choice here. And a lot of opportunity here, even if you don't see it as opportunity. There's so many government programs that help people that are homeless and poor, even right now, and especially in California. You can make it in California and be home. You can actually make it in California if never working. Like, real talk, it's crazy. Someone said get off the podcast and go skate. But it's crazy. It's super wild. So, you know, I'm curious to hear what you guys' thoughts are, because that's how I feel. I'm just like, when you hear paying people out for psychological trauma, I'm like, black people are the first in line. You know, that's how I feel about it. And that doesn't mean that other people don't have traumas. It doesn't mean that nobody else has traumas. It just means that as documented history, you have seen a track record of black people being a disservice to in a lot of areas over many years. So when you hear talking about paying out for psychological trauma, I'm first being like, black people should get it. And not just because I'm black, but honestly, if you look at the stats and the facts of it and the history, bro, like there's not even a comparison. Like, it's not even a comparison. Like, people were getting ripped from their families all the time and never seeing their kids or their wives again, or getting beat or raped, you know, in front of them, and never get paid out. So, I mean, I know it's like many years later, but this is just, it's an interesting article to me. It is interesting to me too, John, but this is very interesting. And I'm really curious to see what the Biden administration comes up with this, or if are they really gonna go through with this, or is this something that's just a headline topic that people are thinking about the president again? Or, you know, I'm very curious as how this is going to play out in the next few months, and what other things come from this. But yeah, if this is true, it is very interesting. I'm just really curious to see. So, like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm not really into politics. I don't know a lot of government policy. And I'm just reviewing this article because this came out today. I'm like, this can't be true. And the more I read, I was like, this is just crazy to think about. Like, it's just crazy to think about. Like, I'm down for helping people. And I just think that giving someone $500,000 when you have a whole other population of people that got treated crazily and didn't get anything for it. And then now we have like the backlash of that. It's just interesting to me, to say the least. But those are my thoughts on the topic, guys. Yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. I'm going to make another live probably either tonight or tomorrow because I heard about Facebook is changing to Meta. I don't know if anybody knows about that. Meta, apparently it's like some virtual fantasy, like it's like a new kind of cryptocurrency based thing or something like that. I'm going to look up it some more because it was kind of interesting, but apparently they're changing their name to Meta, and that's just what it's just totally different now. So I'm really curious to see what happens with that, but we'll talk about that another time. So if you guys got value from this video, if you guys like this style of content, the live chat and the live actual video, go ahead and like this video and give me a thumbs up if you do like the live, because if you do guys like it, I'll do it more often. Probably do this every week. I'm just kind of getting used to doing this live stuff. It's kind of new to me. So if you like this, go ahead and like that video, like this live, comment with the number one. That means you like the live video style. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching and tuning into this broadcast. And if you want to show support, like the video and subscribe, and we'll be on the next one. But I will leave you guys with some good music on the way out. Thanks to Streamlabs. This is Spotify mixed Streamlabs. And yeah, I really like it. It's chill music, good to vibe to, good to work to. There's not sponsored. Don't trip. But yeah, so we gonna get into it. But thanks guys so much. Appreciate it. Love y'all. We out on the next one. Tony Perks, Unpack It Back Podcast. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll see you on the next one. Outro.